Hi, this is Simon Upstall and welcome to another tutorial for Apple Motion, and today we're going to be taking a look at this dramatic tunnel scene. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun building this one. Let's get going. Okay, so project settings, let's go with 1920 1080, 24 frames a second and a duration of 10 seconds. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come down, select the circle tool, hold down the shift and option key and draw out a circle like that, center it up, come over here, turn on fill, turn off outline, let's push it this way I think, and let's have a width of 30. Geometry, let's set that radius to 360. Then what we're going to do is going to come to filters and stylize and extrude. So we're going to set the distance to 1, but then we're going to set the back size to 0.75. And we're also going to reduce that back brightness way down like that to 0, I think. And I think I'm just going to reduce that face brightness as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting. So let's go for 0.3 on there. Okay, so having done that, we are going to make a replicator. So object, replicate. We want to choose line for the shape. We want to turn on 3D. Let's open up the start and end. First of all, zero out that X start. Let's have a Z start of 2000. Zero out the X end and have a Z end of 5000. And for the points, let's go with 32. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to make a floor. So I'm going to come down, select the rectangle tool, draw out any sort of rectangle like that. Let's give it some color. And let's come over to properties, center it up. Open up the rotation. We want an X rotation of -90. And let's go over to the geometry, open up the size. Let's have a width of 480 and a height of 9000. And let's come over to properties and we just need to move it down on Y. So let's go for -200 for that. So there's the floor. And then let's just adjust that position. Let's go for something like -1440. So it's lining up with the back there. I think probably this is a bit too bright, this color. Let's bring that down a bit. Let's go with something like that. So then I think we need to add some lights. So object light, switch to 3D. So this first light, I want to set its Z position to be -5000. And its intensity, I want 750. So then I'm going to duplicate it, right click, duplicate. This next one, the intensity is going to be 350. And the position is going to be -2500. Let's duplicate it again, right click, duplicate. This next one, let's set its Z position to 0. And let's set its intensity down to, I think, 50. So we're dimming the lights as it gets closer to us. So duplicate it one more time. And this time, let's go for an intensity of 20. And for the position, let's go with 2500 on Z. Okay, so let's think what else we're going to do. I think then we want to add a circle at the back of everything. So I'm going to come down to here, select the circle tool, hold down the shift and option key, draw out a pretty big circle actually like that, and center it up. And we need to send this to the back. So let's go for -5000 on Z. And let's come down to the lighting and turn it off. So it's a nice bright light source. Then I think we need to bring in our character. So I'm going to come to import, silhouette figure. I will give you a link to this in the description. So bring that in. So we need to give him some alpha because he's black on white. So let's come to filters, masks and keying and luma keyer. And we just need to invert that luma key. And we'll just need to adjust that till he goes solid like that. Okay, so he wants to be at the back of our tunnel. So let's move him back to negative 5,000. And I think let's reduce his scale down to about 50%. Okay, that's too small. Let's go for 60%. And let's just position him like that, right there on the floor. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to add to this group filters, blur, and zoom blur. And I'm going to set the mix amount to something like 30 and then just increase it till we get a sort of a glow off the background like that, and there's sort of a light bending around the character. What I also want to do is I want to come down and take my rectangle and I want to turn on the reflection. So turn that on. We want to reduce the reflectivity down to around 30 and maybe increase that blur up to around 20. It's going to make the scene a little bit more interesting. Let's now just add a camera. I think I want to just increase the angle of view a lot. So I think I'm going to go with something like 60 or maybe even 75. Yeah, let's go with 75 because the more we do that, the more dramatic it's going to be. So the next thing I want to do is to create the lights that run along the floor. So I'm going to select the circle tool and holding down the Shift and Option key, draw out a circle like that. And we're going to center it up and I'm just going to turn off its lighting, make it easier to see it. Let's come over to shape and let's geometry and let's set the radius to 60, I think. Then let's zoom in here because what I want to do is edit this circle. I'm going to turn on my overlays and it's useful to have the grid enabled as well for this. So let us now, with the circle selected, come to Object and convert to points, and let's convert it to points, and you can see we get the control points for the circle. And what I'm going to do is delete this one here. Then I'm going to select this point here, which brings up the Bezier handles, and holding down the Option key, I'm going to drag that handle to there, and you can see the Option key breaks the Bezier handle, so we can do that. So select this one and hold down the Option key, drag it to there, and now we've got a nice neat semicircle, and we can turn off our overlays and zoom back out again. So then we can take this circle and we can come to Object and Replicate. Again, let's turn off the lighting for this. We want to rotate it through -90 on X and set its Y position to -199. Let's come back to the replicator. Let's open up the size. Let's have a width of 360. Let's have a height of 7,000 to match the rest of our tunnel. Let's have 2 columns. So we've got 1 row on each side. And let's have 32 rows. So these look a little bit odd. What we need to do is we need to turn on 3D and we need to have them face camera. And now they are indeed looking like light bulbs, albeit absolutely giant light bulbs. So let's reduce the scale down to something like 10. And I think that's probably going to be better. So then all we need to do is come back to properties and the Z position. And let's just set this to something like -1200, because I want them to be sort of sitting in between the main upright pillars. So then let's select the circle, shape, style, and just give it a little bit of color to match the rest of our scene like so. And then let's select the replicator. Let's come to filters and glow, and let's use glint. Let's set the exposure to 1. Let's have something like 12 for the glint size. Let's have 2 streaks, and let's maybe reduce that glow amount down to 2. And then we can set that mix value down to about 50%. Just gives us a little bit more of that kind of sci-fi look. So then finally, let's set up our camera. Let's come to its position, set the Y position to -150, and let's have a little bit of an X rotation, 1 degree, which I think gives even more drama to that camera angle. And then let's add a ramp behavior to the Z position, add parameter behavior ramp. Let's have a start value of -2500 and an end value of 1280. So then we get that camera move. And the only thing I want to do now is to select this group, come to filters and color curves, brighten up the whites like that, and compensate by bringing the blacks down like so. Not too much, so we don't lose it altogether at the end there. I think that's probably quite good, something like that. And that is our scene. Hope you have fun making it, and thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.